Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. I have another channel on which I speak about astrology, and a Facebook page which you find in the description box below, where I wrote prophetic writings. This is the the fourth video in a row, in which I described in each video the elements of nature and how are they being used for black magic and sorcery and all these occult practices, where basically I explained in the first video basic elements which have been always created and always used for the good were transformed in order to create black magic. This is the series in which I discussed each element, and basically it's for education purpose, and the idea is for everybody to understand that these elements are the basis of magic. This magic is basically, as God described it to me, in order to help me cope easily with the concept, is that it's basic miracles which we view as miracles, but which is just normal magic created with intent and energy work, which can be done by everyone. Can be done by everyone, of course, to the level of your development in terms of spirituality. So you will exercise this in your daily routine, and you will achieve different levels of manifestation. Let's put it this way. But these basically are elements of nature which have been always used in spirituality. Unfortunately, they have been hijacked by these creepy individuals who are doing the so-called black magic, which is very mysterious. But the goal of this video is exactly to show that it's not that mysterious. They just invented certain type of rituals in which they use these elements for the evil. And God has specifically explained to me in many ways that this will not go away unless all of us who work with God will use those elements for the good. Because as opposed to them, as we use these elements for the good and working with the divine realm, we will engage with deities associated with each element. And for this reason, the creation you will make or manifest will be empowered at a higher level. But this is the path to move forward. And God insisted on explaining this and sharing this with everybody. Okay, in this video, we're talking about element of air. And of course, the discussion is how the air can be used for black magic. You would say it's not possible, but it's very possible. And this is the most basic element being used because they send holograms through air. They send levitation through air. They send, of course, incantations through air. And for example, viruses, pathogen agents, it's basically working the same way as with the element of water, where they associate different spirits which are initially just forms of thought and forms of emotions created by them by intent, by focus and intent, and associating and projecting energy to a thought. Basically, this is how you create. Yeah, they create darkness because they have ill intent. So they create dark energy because of evil intent. You can create white energy with a good intent to send love, to send not to them, please. just in general in ethers, or to some creation of yours or something, or to your house, for example, or to your pets, or for the land or something. But my point is that they are creating this, and then they do incantations in order to, and all sorts of rituals and worshipping in order to infuse those with power. Yeah, so the same thing works for the air. The forms of thoughts and emotions are being empowered by incantations. And now, when we talk about this, particularly in the air, what happens? This is, I think, one of the initial things which I learned about energy work, and I must tell you, I learned it from my dog Lucky. As I was walking him around, and I was living in the city at the time, and I was living in a area where he would actually show me through his reactions where the energy was dark and what kind of energy was there. So this is how I learned. Actually, when I got lucky, was the first time when I evaluated the energy in my house, and I started seeing what happens, what type of energy is being sent, and so on. This was the first time when I noticed, and I paid attention, because I was looking at him and I saw how it affects him. I didn't realize then, before then, that of course myself, I was living in that energy before Lucky arrived, and I was affected by that energy, which was being sent, you know. So how this and that energy sending through air works, basically they create sort of like dark clouds of energy. This is how it looks. And that basically can mean any type of emotion or thought that is negative. That can mean energy of depression, of anger, conflict. The chaos and conflict spells are exactly this. They put effort into it, they create this, they have a ritual in order to create this kind of energy of fight. So if somebody does this to you, you will have always fight in your home. You will fight, and you will notice you have no reason to fight. This is how I discovered, first time when I actually was angry at Lucky, and from his reaction, because he showed me love when I showed anger, I stopped, I paused, and I was like, why am I angry? So this is what I mean. They can send you depression, they can send you negative energy in regards with the way you see yourself, self perception, perception of others, and this is really painful. The more people do it, because this is why they do GAN stalking, in order to infuse more power into this. Yeah. So if more people do this, then it becomes even more powerful. Now what they do is they associate work on different elements. So for example, they do spells and incantations, sending by air element a certain dark energy to your home, or to your house, or to your pets, or to you, and then they infuse that with different element type of energy. For example, water. Yeah, so they would spill water in front of your house, or on your territory somehow, or in your block, or in your courtyard, somehow like this. I see this daily. My neighbors do this daily, every single day. They spill water onto my property on purpose, for this purpose. So they associate elements among themselves, and they create links between them in order to mutually support each other, a different type of spells and incantations, and to empower each other, like using water to give more power to a spell which was being sent by air. Okay, so something like this. So they basically work with them with different type of elements in order to mutually support a single goal. So they send more ways, more attacks in different ways. Now, of course, to this you add new elements. So these are the elements of nature. the 4 elements of nature. But to this you add new elements which they have been using, which are not elements of nature but are human creation, and that is electricity, that is internet, cyber, and they use all of this the same way as they use the elements of nature. For example, I wrote already prophetic writings many times about how internet is being used as a weapon of sending specific type of attacks to you. It's quite the same way as they use all the elements of nature, right? They use it just to increase the power of the attack, basically, which is already described by now. So they interfere with all other 4 elements of nature, and they empower them. They use electricity, they use internet, they use, for example, money, in order to make transactions in such a way to affect you. And I already gave the example of spirit attachments on your money, right? So they use all of these in different ways. They have absolutely endless ways to combine attacks through all of these elements in order to maximize and multiply the force of the attack. Okay, including the gang stalking and ritual playing, as in convent societies, secret societies, and so on. Of course, the next step is the worshipping, which they do, and necromancy and so on, sorcery, and so on and so forth. Now, the purpose of all of these videos are basically to just give you an explanation, to basically discard, that God says to me, discard the myth of black magic and the rejection that has built into our conscience level against anything to do with magic. And God specifically told me many times, that this is part of the way they took dominion over magic, because people are rejecting magic and their ability to work with magic. And that's why you had the era of witch hunting and killing witches and so on and so forth, created by them in order to create fear in people to use magic. And this is how they created the black magic, the magic being done somewhere in hidden societies, convents, and so on. But the reality, God has shown to me specifically many times. For years we have this dialogue, I told you. And God has been very patient, showing me slowly and slowly, this is all the miracles that you see me doing. You can do at your level different kind of miracles, and that those are called magic. And there's no reason for you to fear doing that, because there's nothing evil in it, as long as you don't have evil intent included in your practice. And also, this doesn't have to be done only by certain individuals. This can be done by all humans. This monopoly over magic, it's fake, and is created by them, quite the same as the hunting against witches is created by them in order to instill fear in humans in doing this themselves. And this is how they got so-called dominion over magic, and they created, and the problem is they got dominion over magic, but because they work with ill intent, no deity works with them. Not even from 3D, no deity works with them. This is why they have to invent all of this bullshit, which I am exposing in these videos, whereby they associate different type of practices and they create fake forces only in order to achieve their goals, because no deity will achieve the goals they have. They have evil goals. And this is why they pushed us outside of this field. So nobody will dare to actually question what they're doing. So everybody will fear what they're doing. And so nobody will question or engage with magic at all. But God has always said to me, and God is whispering to me now, that magic is God's gift to humankind. And is the way in which deities work with humans in order to achieve magic in their life as a reward for having good intent and working with the elements of nature to support the earth and the divine realm. So this is actually literally for everybody to use. You shouldn't have a witch to go to do a spell on somebody. You shouldn't do a spell on somebody, first of all. You should only use magic for your own good, not directed against somebody else. And you should focus on your own goals in life. You should use magic in order to create on your path, but not to create in other people's lives. Okay? So, again, magic is basically the same like you see deities making miracles. All right? But on your level, you will achieve it on your level. And as long as you elevate spiritually, your level will increase and you will be able to create more magic at a higher level. Yeah? So you will be able to create more for yourself, but also what I well, somebody hates me right now. What I observed in my own spiritual evolution is that as you evolve on your path, you are able, through your spiritual work, to impact lives of more people. You know, so you can actually create good for others, not nominally for one individual, okay? But you can, for example, if I banish a virus which they have sent through element of air, I can banish it for all children. Although I don't know the children and I'm not targeting a child, but I will say, you know, I want all children to be safe. And I ask a deity which works with children to help me, that I will banish that virus for all children, so they will be healthy. Yeah. Well, maybe my level of evolution is not high enough to do such a thing, to have such a power. But because my intent is so pure, the deity that works with children will help me do that. Do you understand? This is magic. This is how you do magic. Okay? So you achieve something magical, which is beyond your reach, by having a good intent and working with deities and not targeting anyone. And let me tell you something. When I say not targeting anyone, I include good intent and ill intent, because this is a very harsh lesson which I learned in my spiritual evolution. Because initially, before my spiritual conscience fighting, the church was teaching me, you know, you should pray for everyone. You should pray for your enemies. You should pray for this. You should pray for that. And God has shown to me, you shouldn't. No, you don't pray for others. You don't, unless you're shown by a divine realm, because maybe they are under divine judgment and punishment. You don't pray for them. Maybe that is God's will of karma being delivered to an individual. You don't take it upon yourself to pray for people, because you don't understand the situation. You can have a good intent to everybody, or to an entire country, or to an entire area, and so on. But it is not your place to judge what should happen in somebody else's life, good or bad. It is not your place to judge. It could be that you wish upon somebody else to fall in love. And maybe that individual is in a particular situation in which falling in love exposes him to tremendous attacks from darkness. Maybe that is a warrior who at that time should be focusing on battling certain forces and is not allowed to open his heart at that point in time. So you see how good intent misdirected can harm somebody. It is not your place, because God has shown me that these creeps were punished for doing altar magic on me. And they pretended like, oh, but we were praying for her health. So they put my picture on an altar and they started praying and wishing bad on me, you know. So they were actually found out, you know, and they were punished. And they said, but we were praying for her. But nobody requested you to pray for me. Nobody requested you to pray for me. This is fake. This is not true. And you're doing this for ill intent. And you never should do anything without permission against somebody else, even if you think it's good. You might send Reiki to somebody, because I keep hearing this. And you might have a demonic attachment. You create an attachment from your demon to that individual. You have no fucking clue that you're doing harm. You should focus on yourself and clean yourself from your own attachments before you just wander around and send it to others. And I said this in my work, in all my videos and all my prophetic writings. Focus on yourself. Stop sending to others anything. Stop asking others to send to you, because you don't know what you receive. You don't know what kind of attachments they have. And then you end up having more to clean up than you would have ever imagined. So, again, we got into another discussion here now, but the point was about magic is that when I say good intent and you have a good intent, then you must understand you don't have a good intent towards a person. You focus on yourself. You focus on yourself, and if you have intentions towards others and you want to achieve something towards others, you do it in a way which you do not impact on somebody else's boundaries. And you only send what is God's will for everybody, because you don't know where that person in their journey is. And you don't know to what extent what you're sending is beneficial to that person at that particular time. And others might use the same practice to do harm on them. This is not a time to do this. This is a time where everybody's focusing on themselves. And this is why I'm providing these videos, in order to empower people to understand that there is no such thing there's no such thing as witches. There's no such thing. Every individual has the opportunity to work with the divine realm. Every individual that has good intent and has divine guidance to do magic can work with the elements of nature to create magic. And there are many issues to be addressed in the world that you can work on, you know. And deities from the divine realm will empower your work of creation to rise it to a level of miracles and magic. By people refusing to do this and accepting the education that all that is magic is being done with the darkness and evil, essentially what they have done is they took monopoly over the most important gift that God has given to the humankind, namely to make magic and to work with the divine realm to create miracles. Okay, so I'm gonna close up here. This was the series of videos I made about the elements of nature. I mentioned also some new elements which they are using. This is a topic which I continue to research, so I'm not done with this, but God guided me that this is the right time to share my current research findings. Because I will write a book with everything that I ever researched in spiritual terms, but it will take some time until it comes out, and that book will be much more coherent because we'll have all the information included. So God guided me that this is a time when actually people should receive this information. It will be beneficial for the ascension purpose, and this is why I'm sharing it. I'm gonna stop now, and as always, if you have any questions, you can ask me, so I will answer.